Okay. So, Caesar, how we doing?
Good morning, Bud.
We ready to rock and roll? So,
yeah, we can talk to you later after the podcast.
I will start kind of going through some of your questions here, and then you just jump in anytime, and we'll see where it goes from there. So, but just to be able to kind of start and introduce myself, my name is Mitch Hora. I'm a 7th generation farmer from Washington, Iowa, and our family farm, we farm about 700 acres of row crop, corn, soybeans, and this year a bunch of cereal rye as well. And that cereal rye is all in a relay crop system, and I'll dig into that here after a little bit. But on our farm, we started using no-till in 1978 and using cover crops in 2013. And so we've been, utilizing a lot of these soil health practices for a long time. And we're in a unique area of Iowa that Washington County has a lot of people that are using no-till and utilizing cover crops. So we're not the only ones. And we've been able to really learn by working with our neighbors and working with other people in the local community. But a lot of trial and error and a lot of learning over time to be able to continue to progress and to figure out what are going to be the best systems for our farm.
Good morning. This is Cesar Delgado from Back Roads of Illinois on Farm Progress with Mitch Hora today.
Yeah, it's really great to be on and hanging out with you, Caesar. And was just digging into some of our, family farm stuff there. And, continuing to spread the word, I think, is really important. And pushing on the adoption here now of sustainable agriculture systems and helping farmers to understand soil health and understanding the data and understanding their operations to be able to implement smarter agriculture.
Hey man, how did you meet with Dale Sticker and Keith Byrne?
So I've met those guys from Green Cover Seed probably at the No-Till on the Plains conference a couple years ago, or just around a different events and stuff throughout time. And, being able to just continue to work with other people that are helping farmers to understand cover crops, that are helping to provide the inputs. A huge thing, as we continue to scale up the use of cover crops, is we're going to have more seed, and the seed doesn't fully exist today for the need that we're going to have as more farmers use cover crops. So I'm interested in continuing to work with guys like Keith and Dale and others to help farmers to better understand things like relay cropping, or to understand implementing small grains, and figuring out how is that going to work feasibly in the actual crop rotation. And so, working with guys like Keith and them that have a big network, they really understand how to how to grow the crops themselves, how to get good yield, how to get good quality. And, we're going to have to be able to figure out how to grow more of those small grains, even here in Iowa and throughout the Midwest. So how we've been able to do it is being able to do this relay crop where we plant cover crops in the fall, especially cereal rye, and then we plant soybeans into that in the spring, typically the last couple of days of April or first part of May. And then we harvest the rye in July, and we come back in the fall and harvest the soybeans. So we're getting two crops off the same acre in the same year. And that's where we can get the economics really to work correctly.
They are very good guys and nice too as well, no joke.
Yeah, no, they're awesome. And I think that's a key thing for, the whole regenerative movement is getting the right people involved and the right guys that have a passion for it. They understand that we have to be working together and that there's enough opportunity here. There's more than enough opportunity for everybody to have a piece and for lots of players to be brought to the table to be able to really help the farmers. So yeah, we're seeing farmers adopting, the practices at different speeds and stuff. And for our operation, in that we've been utilizing no-till and cover crops for a long time, we've been able to be really early on the adoption curve and helping other farmers. We've been doing weekly soil sampling to learn and to better understand soil health changes and better understand the data, because the soil is a living system and the biology is changing all the time. So we have to be able to better understand those changes and help farmers to gather the data that they need to be able to work with Mother Nature and not against her. And so data has been really, really crucial.
Okay, you're in Iowa. Some farmers are very conservative about their own way. How are you deal with that?
Yeah, a lot of farmers, have been doing things the same way for a really long time, and they feel comfortable in their situation. They know that it works. They understand the ins and outs. Their equipment is set up for the system that they're in, and it's really tough to change. But it boils back to having the right data and helping farmers to utilize data to understand their system and to be able to understand the opportunity to improve. So we've been, helping those farmers that are at all different stages of the adoption curve to better understand their data and to gather, especially soil data. And we utilize the Haney soil health test to help the farmers to get a baseline of their system and be able to quantify not only their nitrogen and phosphorus and potassium and their pH and organic matter and some of the things we've been looking at for a long time, but we're also looking at being able to make sure that those farmers understand their biological parameters, like biological activity through the CO2 burst, and identifying the food for those microbes through water extractable organic carbon. And we like using the Haney test because it gives us all of these parameters all in one, so that we can manage the fertilizer and we can track our biological gains and be just more holistic as we're managing for our soils. So with that data, we start a farmer down the path by helping them to just manage the 4 R's better, managing the right rate of fertilizer, the right timing, understanding the right products, and getting it in the right place and we utilize machine learning to be able to variable rate and better understand spatial variance. And with that, we are able to put dollars in the farmer's pocket because they are fine tuning their fertilizer applications.
That's true. I know what you mean. I am deal with it, especially for my area.
Yeah, in Illinois for sure, it's going to be an uphill battle to get farmers to use cover crops and to understand. A big thing that I think we have to do is that cover crops have to be promoted and looked at as an offensive tool and looked at as a tool to help to actively manage fertility. And we utilize cover crops as our nutrient stabilizer, where the cover crop is holding nutrients and then it gives them back in the season. We have to better understand that active fertility management process. We also have to utilize cover crops as an active tool for improving our carbon storage and sequestering carbon, to actively improve our water impact and actively improve our water infiltration and our water use efficiency impact. And then as we build up biology, that we are actively helping our soil to be in balance and improve nutrient density. So that's a huge piece here of utilizing these cover crops in an offensive manner, because a lot of farmers in Illinois are looking at cover crops and saying, well, I don't really have erosion because my soils are really flat, and they don't see the erosion, but it's because it's happening in minute, it's they don't have the big gullies and stuff like what farmers have with like farmers have where they have big hills. So they're just missing some of the bigger picture that that there is erosion going on. It's just a little bit tougher to see on a yearly basis. But when you go and look at those soils, in Illinois or in flat black areas in Iowa or around the country, that those areas have a lot of erosion going on, and they have depleted a lot of their organic matter and a lot of their carbon. So we need to be able to actively get that put back, because those soils are really, really hurting, but it's just hard to be able to quantify it and see, or it's just hard for farmers to be able to see it because they're started at such a high spot, just such a high starting spot, where a lot of our soils here in Iowa and Illinois used to have organic matter of 8 to 10%. And now we've whittled it all the way down to 3 to 4% on a lot of those farms. But 3 to 4% is still good enough that we don't see the really poor negative impacts. But it definitely is adding up over time.
Hey, Mitch, I could meet with Zach Johnson on July. I followed him on YouTube. It's my dream.
Yeah, Zach's great. So Zach is the Minnesota Millennial Farmer, and he and I co-host a podcast together called Fieldwork. Zach was actually down here in Iowa at my field day last Monday. That he came down and we actually recorded a podcast live, and we were talking with the Iowa Secretary of Agriculture, Mike Nag, and we were talking with the Vice President for Sustainability from Rabobank. And we were discussing with those guys carbon and improving, soil health and the different programs that are happening at a state level and at a national level and at an international level. Like Rabobank is very much international. So we were having the discussion with those guys about scaling up sustainable agriculture. And like I mentioned, Washington County already has some decent scale to it. Definitely, further along the curve than a lot of other areas, but we have a long way to go. And we need to keep helping farmers to learn and understand and get everybody to work together. So having Zach, involved is really great. His YouTube is just massive now. And, he has really been able to to build things out as a social media influencer, and we can, continue to help to educate guys like him to keep doing better.
How was it on last Monday?
Yeah, Monday, the field day was awesome. We had a lot of people there, and people from all over the country, and then online there was people from all over the world. So really great to see the community come together. At the field day, we had Rick Clark. He was our keynote. Rick is a 7,000 acre regenerative organic farmer from Indiana. We also had Russell Hedrick, who's a regenerative farmer from North Carolina. We had Dr. Rick Haney and his wife, Dr. Liz Haney, were both up from Texas. Jessica Nadd was here from Kansas. Jeremiah Durbin from Ohio. Christy Apple from Michigan. And just people from all over the place. Like I said, then folks from Rabobank and from the Iowa Department of Agriculture, and folks from the podcast came down from Minnesota. Just really, really great to see so many different people, and a really, really good day of learning. So all of the whole field day though is on YouTube, and everyone can look at it, and they can watch the videos through the Continuum Ag YouTube channel. We're also looking at being able to maybe put some of the videos on our podcast as well, the Topsoil podcast. And from there, it's just making sure that when events happen or when content is created, that's being utilized in as many ways as possible.
Cool. I am sorry I was in Indiana, but I will invite you to the Farm Progress show on Wednesday morning, September 1st.
Yeah, no, I might have to make it over there. I don't think I've ever actually been to the Farm Progress show. And so I need to go at some point, but we'll have to see what the schedule is looking like come September. So there'll be a lot of other events and stuff going on too. And I think that especially now with everything opening back up after COVID, that everyone's ready to get back out at different events, get together with other farmers and learn and see what all the new ideas are. And so really good, community being built, and just so many farmers that are interested in learning, and they want to keep learning, and having different events is a really great way to do it.
I hope. Me either.
Yeah, we'll be out and about. Don't have too much traveling going on right now. Things are just getting really back up and going, but got to be out on the road. I got to go to Michigan later next week, doing some cool things with the Trust in Food Initiative and Farm Journal up there. The Saginaw Bay is an area where there's a lot of farmers that are really pushing on adopting cover crops and being able to make soil health systems work, even up in East Central Michigan.
How is the weather in southern Iowa?
We are really, really dry here in Southeast Iowa. There's been some spots down further south of us where they were wet, but we're really, really dry here now. We haven't had any rain at all in about 2 weeks. So the corn is definitely showing some drought issues. There's a lot of variability in the fields, and some guys really, really hurting for moisture. But what's interesting is underneath some of our cover crop residue, though, on our soybean ground, that we still have really good moisture and really good earthworm activity and good soil temperatures underneath cover crop residue. So that's helping to keep our soils in better condition and keep our soybeans really happy too. But we're supposed to, hopefully we'll get some rain maybe this coming weekend. We need some rain really bad. we were wet in middle of April. We were kind of wet, and then we got the whole crop planted in late April. Then we were getting some rain throughout the month of May. We were dry there for a while, but then the rain turned back on, and we were really happy that we had the cover crop still growing to help our beans stay really happy. And the soybeans are looking really awesome. We started terminating cover crop about the fourth week of May or so, fourth week of May. And we were kind of wet at that point. So actually some of our cover crop, we were not able to get terminated. And instead we're going to harvest the cover crop and use it as a relay crop instead. So we'll have about 90 acres that we're going to harvest the rye over the top of the soybeans as a relay.
We've been dry since last fall, but we see the weather is supposed for this week ahead.
Yeah, hopefully later here soon we can get some rain. It looks like at least it's going to be a little bit cooler conditions, especially nighttime conditions getting really cool. So that should help this corn to be happier. That during the day, I think it's supposed to be in the 80s or so during the day, and then getting down to low 60s, even upper 50s at nighttime temperatures. So at least it won't be too hot here this week, and help to keep that corn a little happier. But the corn needs to get rooted down and find some moisture down deeper in the soil. Hopefully our stuff will be able to survive fairly well because we've been able to build up our water holding capacity and build our organic matter to make sure that our corn stays happier even when it does get dry.
Yeah, I had to replace my some corn because poor weather conditions of May.
Yeah, we're seeing plenty of farmers having to go and replant corn. We haven't had to replant at all in the last couple of years, and really, really thankful for that. Where a big piece of being able to improve our soil health and get our systems in shape is that we can now handle a lot more, handle a lot bigger rains. We can infiltrate water a lot better, and we can make sure that our soils are more resilient so that we're not drowning out our corn and keeping that corn happy, not having to replant, and keep the fields a lot more consistent. So I think as soil health practices like no-till and cover crops are adopted, that over time that soil becomes a lot more resilient, and we don't have to replant near as much. And just a huge thing to make sure that farmers are aware of. But it's really hard to put a dollar figure on the value of not having to replant because so many farmers are just used to replanting. But for the last couple of years, even though we've had really, really wet Mays in both 2019 and 2020, we haven't had to replant at all.
Don't remember me about 2019 and wet conditions.
Yeah, we were really wet here in May of 2019. We had 15 inches of rain in the month of May. But we've been able to improve our water infiltration rates to now being able to infiltrate 4 inches of rainfall in less than 5 minutes. So those big heavy rains, we can really suck it right in and hold on to that and hold on to that water for later in the year when we really need it.
Woo, that a lot of water.
Yeah, it was a lot of rain. 15 inches of rain in a month is definitely a lot. But like I said, being able to now infiltrate 4 inches in 5 minutes, very rarely do we get a rain that's that hard. So we're really able to be a lot more resilient and make our systems work. But Caesar, I'm gonna have to go. This has been a really, really fun podcast though, and great to get on and keep chatting with you. But I'm gonna have to jump and talk to you again here sometime soon. But we keep up the good work and keep spreading the word about good old soil health. And but it's been good to come on and chat.
Well, Mitch, see you later.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good day.
By this is Mitch Hora from Cummings Ag from Washington, Iowa. Yeah, that's future for farming about cover crop. We'll see you later. I will be in Farm Future Boot Camp on this week by the Farm Progress. See you later on this weekend with my friend from Green Cover Crop Seeds. See you later. Have a good weekend. Stay cool. This is Cesar Delgado from Bax Road of Illinois on Farm Progress.